All right, welcome everybody. So we're just going to do a recap here on today's trading. Look at some of the trades we made this morning during the first hour, and then some additional trades we took during the additional 2 hours that we do in our live trading room every day with our subscribers. But before I get into it, I wanted to really focus a little bit on something I think is really important when it comes to being a short-term trader. Most of us are short-term traders. I mean, I'm sure there's a few out there that are buy and hold, but I've never been a real big proponent for buy and hold because it's very difficult to make any kind of decent return when you're a buy and hold trader. Plus, when you're a buy and hold trader, it's just the more time that you're in the market, you have more exposure to risk. There's more the possibility that some sort of news or something's going to come out that's going to adversely affect, not only your trade, but the direction that the market's moving in. Because a lot of times we'll see nice move up, you'll see some sort of news come out, big spike down, and then later on it resumes its trend up. And in the meantime, a lot of people get chopped up. And so one of the things that I've seen in the last 40 years of trading and working with some of my clients, and I know this happens a lot with new traders, but I also see it in people that have been trading for, even more than 5 or 10 years. And they're short-term traders, what we call, day traders, even swing traders, is they start looking at different time frames. Okay. So what I'm showing you here is this is going to be a real example, a good example, because this is a trade that we made today in gold, and why when we look at trend, everybody looks at trend, and one of the things people hear me say a lot is the trend is not your friend. All right. And a lot of people look at me saying, you're crazy, Ken. What do you mean the trend is not your friend? The trend is your friend if you're trading off of fundamentals and you're holding positions for a long period of time. And even that can be subjective, because the question is, what trend? Are we looking at a weekly trend, yearly trend, monthly trend, daily trend? What kind of trend are you looking at? It's always very subjective, particularly when it comes to day trading. So really, when it comes to day trading or short-term trading, the trend is not your friend. What I say is momentum is your friend. It's momentum. It's that velocity. It's that beginning change from going up to going down. You have a switch in momentum, and then you have velocity kicking in, right? And then that's what's going to push your prices up and down. And really, as traders, we're only concerned, as short-term traders, is if it's going up, we want to buy it. If it's going down, we want to sell it. But when you start looking at trends, so a lot of people will look at, this is an example of a 5-minute gold. I've got a 30-minute gold, 4-hour gold, daily gold. These are pretty common. A lot of people look at it and they say, okay, well, and I've heard people tell me this too. Even some of my students will tell me this. They'll say, well, Ken, the trend's going down this morning on the 5 minutes, so, I don't want to take any buys. Okay. But if you take a look at this, look at your 30-minute. I mean, you could say that that's going up. Right? You can say the trend's going up. Well, no, I see a little bit going down. But overall, it's going up. Here's a 4-hour. The 4 hours going up. All right. Look at your daily. You could say that the daily's going up, maybe. Or did the daily start coming down 3 days ago? All right. Still very subjective, but nonetheless is saying that I'm not going to take a short, okay, or I'm not going to take a buy because of this, what they're seeing in this trend. The problem is that what are you going to do? You're going to wait for all of these to line up. And usually when all of them line up, you're going to be on the wrong side of the market, because if you think about it, when is your best moves? When are your bigger moves when it comes to trading? When you're seeing a shift in momentum with a lot of velocity, it's going to be opposite to what everything's doing. So if everything's going up, the last thing you want to do is just look at buys. What you should be looking at is sells. And if everything's going down, you shouldn't be looking at shorts. You should be looking at buys, right? Or everything's going up, you should be only looking at sells. So the point is that it's that momentum, okay? It's things like when you see a big burst in volume, right, and you see a big red bar, a big green bar, now not always, all right, doesn't mean that momentum has shifted, but a lot of times you see this, right? So when you see something like this, a big move down, yeah, the move's going to start going down. Now, if we were looking at 5 minutes, let's pull this out a little bit more. You know, you're looking at 5 minutes and you can say, well, yeah, I can see that we had a big move down, but prior to that, we were going up. I mean, at what point do you decide that you don't want to take buys anymore and you just want to take shorts? All right, so I'm hoping that I'm making myself clear here. The thing is that one of the things I learned a long time ago, and typically if everybody's doing it, folks, you typically don't want to be doing the same thing. Everybody's looking for these multiple time frames, all right? And, I mean, it seems to make sense when you think about it, I mean, logically, but you've got to remember, trading has its own logic, okay? What you think makes sense usually is going to be wrong, and why is that, all right? It's because if it makes sense to you, it makes sense to everybody else, right? Everybody's using the same kind of logic. They're all looking at saying, okay, you know, I'm just going to go when I see all the trends going up, you know, all the markets are going up. But you know what? Everybody else is doing that. The other 98% of traders are doing the same thing. And what do we know about trading? 98% of traders lose money. So you got to be able to change the way that you look at the markets, the way that you think about market action. And basically what I've done in my 40 years is I've simplified it down to two things. It's basically patterns, the patterns set up buy and sell. And then I have Einstein, which takes into account momentum and velocity. And it provides me with these levels, these profit targets, right? Sometimes we get multiple patterns setting up, provides a multiple targets. Sometimes we only get one. It's up to me as a trader to decide whether I'm going to go with how many levels I want to go up, how many levels I want to go down. And that's why we want to keep track and look at, particularly if you're doing stocks, not important with gold and everything else, but more so probably in stocks as you want to look at, you know, where are the orders resting, right? What's the volume coming into the market? Are we seeing good volume of traders that want to short the market? Good volume. And all that does, it doesn't really make a decision whether I'm going to buy it or sell it. What that does is only helps in whether I'm going to go for 1, 2, 3, or 4 levels, right? So once again, this whole idea of trend is your friend, I want you all to get that out of your mind. It's momentum is your friend. It's not trend is your friend. And no, there is a difference between trend and momentum, okay? And the other thing is, remember, trend is subjective. Trend is very, very subjective. But we have designed a formula for momentum that takes the subjectivity out of it, all right? So you want, when you're trading anything, you want to be able to keep it down to just 1 or 2 tools that you're using, number one. And you also want to make sure that whatever those tools that you're using are effective, will work in all markets, not just one market like the gold, all right? If a tool is good, it shouldn't matter, okay, what instrument you're trading. If it's good, it should work across the board and everything. And also, let me clarify that. Okay, and I'm going to use something as simple as a moving average. When I say a moving average, okay, let's say you're using a 20-day moving average in gold. If that 20-day moving average doesn't work in silver, or doesn't work in the indices, or doesn't work in the stock, then it's not good anymore. You don't want to use it. What are you going to do? You're going to modify it. So you can say, well, I found the 23-day moving average is the best. I promise you it won't hold up more than a couple of weeks, if even that. You'll find that maybe now the 22-day moving average, and then a month later you're re-optimizing. Now you're going to find it's a 23-day. Then you're going to re-optimize it in a month later, and you're going to find it's an 18-day. Folks, you're just going to be chasing your tail. I promise you, for the rest of your life, you're never going to know what the ideal parameter is, because they're constantly changing. So the key is to look for patterns, what I call behavioral patterns. Patterns in the market that people tend to do over and over and over again, and has a predictability. You're never going to have 100%, but you can get up to 70%, 75%. That's about max of what you can expect in terms of predictability. The other 30%, I don't care how good of a trader you are, nobody can hit it beyond 75, 80% consistently over a long period of time. All right. I'm talking about a long period of time. Yes, I've had days where I've had 100% profitability, like today, or sometimes you even have a week, where you maybe hit 80% of your trades. But if you're going to be doing this for a long time, I mean years of trading, you're not going to keep hitting at that type of percentage. So get this crazy idea out of your mind that you're going to be able to constantly be right 80%, 90% of the time. It's just not going to happen, folks. The key is to trading, and you've heard this over and over again. It's so true. Just control your risk. Control your risk. Everything else the profits will take care of themselves. When you get into a trade, you try to run it as far as you can, control that risk, and that's the key to trading. But have a couple tools that are reliable that when they do set up, you have the odds in your favor that it's going to go in your direction. Okay, and that's the key. So let's look at our trade today. Let's see here. I think we can do this on, let's change this to 1 minute. We can look at our trades for today. And I'll show you the gold trade we made today, and then I'll show you the results overall for everything else. I'm trying to make this video, try to keep this video down, not spend too much time on everything. Going back, come on. Way back. Okay, here's where I started my trade. So, starting off today, I had a sell entry. All right, so I had a sell entry, and this was during the first hour. The trading came in around 7. Well, actually, no, I actually did come in short, didn't I? Yeah, I came in short. Now, last night, if you were following me last night, you know that I came in overnight long, all right? And actually, it did get me out last night. I think around midnight. I actually got out of my long position. But then this morning I came in and I got a short on the gold. And the gold came down, and gold did hit. Let me see if I can make this bigger here. Gold did come down, and it hit my target right here. All right, so I sold it, and then it hit my target right here. Then we had a real strong shift in momentum to the upside. So I had an entry at the yellow, target on the green, and I also made money on the buy side. So here's a situation where you can say, well, I only want to take shorts, but you had a nice buy that you left on the table. Or I only want to take buys. We have a nice short. We had a really nice short on the table. So in this case, you can see it wasn't a trend. All right. It was the momentum that set up these beautiful trades. All right. So made money on the short, made money on the buy. I didn't look at it beyond that point. I'm sure there were some more trades in there. I did not take anything else in gold. I made those first 2 trades in gold this morning, and then of course I had that long coming in from last night, and I got out of that. I think before, I got out of that. That hit like at midnight, so I was out of that before we even started the first hour in our trading room. So anyway, 3 trades in a row, buy, sell, buy, all profitable. If I was trying to use some sort of trend thing or looking at trend or whatever, I wouldn't have made the money that I made, because it's really not the trend, it's the momentum. All right, so enough of that, and let's take a look and see how we did, not only in stocks, but how we ended up doing with our gold. And I did trade an NC today too. Let's take a look. All right, so let's take a look at it. So you can see I had a pretty good day, made money and everything today. So you can see my gold. I went ahead and adjusted the chart for, I'm Central Time, this is Eastern Time, so I adjusted the chart. So you can see I entered here, it was around 8:58, somewhere down in here, somewhere over here. And you can see I originally sold it. Okay, so a little bit more, then I ended up closing it out. All right, then I turned around and I bought it several times, then I closed it out. So made money on the short, made money on the buy on the gold. And then on the US Tech, pretty much just sold the US Tech. I put that on. Yeah, I think we did have that US Tech during the morning show, didn't we? Yeah, I think I did put that on during the morning show too. Yeah. So took a short, and I was in that trade almost an hour, and it finally hit my target. So I had a nice little trade on the US Tech, and that was it. I didn't do anything else. Didn't do anything on the ES. And though I had some nice setups on the ES and the Russell, I didn't take those. I think, what is it? Natural gas had a nice trade. I didn't take that. So just going kind of light on that because I was really focused on these stocks because today was just a great day in stocks. The trade I made this morning on stocks, let's take a look at that. I think it was NOGN, I believe, is the one that I first took this morning on stocks. But you can see everything I was hitting. I was just kind of nibbling on everything. LUCY was a big one for most people. Made some nice money on LUCY. Once again, these are just patterns that are setting up, and Einstein gives me the levels, and, you know, when they hit, I get in, I get out. Oh, I know what I did. NOGN, the NOGN, I bought into it, hit 3 levels, all right? I did not get out. I wanted to hit, my first trade, I was a loser because I got a little stubborn. I didn't get out, but it came back down. Then it set up another really nice buy. There were several patterns that are setting up buys. I took that. So I ended up making up for my loss and ended up going green on NOGN. So the first trade on NOGN was a loss. But then I was finally able to come back with another nice setup and made money. And then everything else was pretty smooth sailing. Made a little bit on BBAI, my favorite JDST, JFBR, made a little bit of money on that. Of course, LUCY was the big one for me. And I think LUCY was a big one for a lot of people today. INZY was a mover. I mean, just everything was a mover. WW and RS, LS. So once again, all these trades, it's simplified. I've simplified it over my 40 years of trading. I just look at 4 different patterns. And once the pattern set up, run Einstein. Einstein provides me with the levels. All right, everything is done. I don't do anything by hand. Everything is done via the computer. And then once I get the pattern set up and I get my levels, then I just get in and I ride the momentum. And that's pretty much how I trade. So anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. Please, if you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up. Make sure you support the channel. Please subscribe and share this with others you may think have an interest. I'm here to answer your questions. So if you do have any questions, you can reach me via my website, InnovativeTradingStrategies.com. Once again, remember the first hour is open to everybody, and then I continue on for the next 2 hours. Also keep in mind that if you would like the non-delayed version, we can do that through Zoom. And I do that for 3 hours. So I trade for 3 hours through Zoom, no delay. So if you'd like to track me during the live action with no delay, then the best way to do that is get into our Zoom room. So that being said, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Everybody have a good day. We'll see you first thing tomorrow morning. Remember, I think we have that big FOMC meeting coming out tomorrow at 2 Eastern. So the markets are probably going to be pretty quiet and choppy in the morning. Doesn't mean we can't have some really nice trades. Doesn't mean I'm not going to trade. We'll just have to look at the action and see. And but at 2 o'clock, that's when they're going to be talking about interest rates. And so, of course, you know, the market's going to have a big move one way or the other. So watch for that tomorrow. All right, that's it. Everybody have a good night.